Well, we're back. Been a little while, about a week and a half or so. Took the end of it off the fuel tank here, and you can see inside there it's got a bit of rust from the water and that degreaser that I put in, but it did a pretty fair job getting all this stuff off. So I hope that isn't an issue, but there's not much of that. But the rest of it looks pretty good. Here's the end. So what we're going to do now is we are going to use this Rust Blast. This stuff. Rust Blast. Pre-paint primer. And they suggest putting it on at full strength and letting it sit for 30 minutes. And I believe you got to keep it wet. Yeah, it says reapply often and as needed to keep the surface wet for a minimum of 30 minutes for lightly or moderately rusted surfaces. Minimum of 60 minutes for heavily rusted surfaces. So I think 30 minutes will be what we'll need. And since it's so humid out today, I don't think we'll have much trouble with it drying out. So we'll put that into this here squirt bottle. We'll put it in that and spray her in there and see what happens. Well, that worked out well. Looking at the top, all I gotta do is unscrew the sprayer, put it in the bottle. So let's see what we can do as far as spraying this in here. I thought it'd probably be better to do it this way than to pour the whole stuff in there and slosh it around, because it's eventually going to leak out with that end the way it is. So this way you don't use as much of it, and I can coat it probably as good with this, doing it this way, as I can dumping it in there. So get the idea. We will be back and after I get this all done. Well, we're all done. Been close to an hour, and I just rinsed everything out, so it's all wet, but I'll show you what it looks like after it dries. It leaves a powdery looking coat, everything. I did the outside of it too, just for the fact that the paint that I'm going to paint the outside of it with is the same process, basically. You rinse it all with the degreaser, and you put this Rust Blast on it, etches the metal, it preps it for the paint, and this is prepping it for the sealer. So it's the same difference. But anyway, once we put the sealer in, my wife suggested too, and that was a good idea, instead of pouring this stuff in, now I'm going to have to pour it in the spout and try to slosh it around that spout, turn it as I'm putting it in to get that to seal that spout, because there's a joint right here and you have a joint right here, so I want to make sure that those seal. What is kind of cool with this thing, there's a some sort of a seal in there. I don't know if it's like lead or what it is, but you can loosen this bolt and then you can turn that neck to the position that you want it. It's kind of cool. But anyway, it's set to where it needs to be, so we're going to leave it alone. So anyway, we're going to run the sealer down inside this and see if I can get that all sealed up, and then take a paintbrush with the other sealer and we will reach up in here and we will paint it in as heavy as I can. I might dribble some down in there and stand it up on its end to get the end all sealed good in the crack. And I mean, I don't know if it was really leaking there, but yeah, on the top There's some pinholes, and I don't think there's anything on the bottom, but on the top there was some pinholes that need to be filled. And obviously right here, this is an area that I took and heated the solder up and filled that hole back in that had come in. But you can kind of see the marks right there where the baffle goes. And so once I get this sealed up to about where the baffle is at, we'll let that all dry up, and then we will put the baffle in, and then I'm just going to tack it in place, because all I did is they only soldered it in a few spots. I think it was right here, up here, over here, and down here. So I'm going to do the same. I'll probably just spot it a couple spots here and a couple spots up here, and then we will seal the rest of this out to here. And then I will also put maybe some on the outside of this thing painted on. But what I'm thinking about doing is getting some sort of caulk instead of solder, because I'm not a solderer, and this is not very smooth, this edge. I mean, I beat it kind of as smooth as I could get it, but maybe just take, and you can see there's like a lip there, be able to run some caulk all the way around it and down in the inside, but I don't know. And then what I want to do after I get the end in place and get these edges all bent over, because right now they're all opened up, but we'll get those all bent over the edge. Then I'm going to tip it up on this end, and I'm going to pour some of that sealer in here and let it slosh around the end of this gas tank. So hopefully that sealer will go down into any sort of crack around there, if there's any, and seal it up. I don't know, because if I solder it, I can guarantee you it's going to leak. So that's kind of my plan as of this time. And you can see some of this stuff starting to turn a little white. Here on the side you can see it. See how it's turning white? It's like a chalky color. That's the phosphorus that's in it. So anyway, that's what the whole inside will look like, and the whole outside once it's dry. So I'll try and bring you back before I start the sealing process. Well, there's after it has dried out, and you can see the inside of the tank. It's still a little bit wet on the bottom, but you get the idea. You can see how chalky it looks. That is the rust blaster. And you can see it there, how it's affecting that rusty metal. Makes it catches it right up. Gets down into the pores, and well, that isn't dry there. But anyway, that's what we're after. So once that all dries out good and thoroughly, it's going to be a while because I've got to go on a fishing trip here, leaving us in a few days, and I'll be gone for a week. So, but anyway, when we get back, we'll start with the sealing. So thanks for subscribing and watching, and we'll see y'all then.